Welcome along everybody to the Principality of Monte Carlo. It's round 8 of the Formula 1 2020 season here at Contest of Speed. Tonight, the best European drivers tackle the 39 laps of this tricky but iconic 2.07 mile street circuit. Features 19 corners, 8 to the left, 11 to the right. The lap distance here taken at full throttle for only 34% and the average speed only 104 miles per hour. Welcome to the Monaco Grand Prix, and to provide detailed analysis and expertise as we join the quali session live now, a big welcome to my co-commentator, Jack Prentice.
Thank you, Louis. It's a pleasure to... It's the shortest track on the Formula 1 calendar at just under 2.1 miles, like the longest when you're out there weaving your way between the barriers, knowing that the first slightest mistake is going to lead to big problems throughout your race. So, it's a delight to be here, especially with it being now a midnight condition, something a little bit different for the drivers to contend with. You only normally get this in the Middle East, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to change the strategy a little bit in terms of how these drivers look after their tyres, but that's all to watch out for in the race. First of all, got a very exciting qualifying session to go through.
Absolutely, qualifying's very important here. 46% of drivers in the Monaco in real life take the win here. It's the highest percentage of any circuit. On board with NSX John and the Alpha Tower, he's just entered the pits after a cheeky warm-up lap. I've got no audio on my side, but hopefully you do. I'll just check that at the moment. But Jack Prentice, Monaco track. Let's talk about the difficulty to overtake and some chances of some VSCs and SCs.
It's not impossible, to be totally honest with you. You either need to be Dan Dare on the brakes, you need to be opportunistic in the extreme, or you need to be very lucky in order to get past the car here. You need to have a very willing dance partner. I myself managed to pull off one into Mirabeau on a good friend of ours, Matty Robbo, but that was because both drivers fully cooperate with one another. You're not always going to get that in the heat of the battle here, so it's going to take a very risky move. As we see now, I think somebody's retired. That Giorno retired already. Now,
It is.
where is that? It's in Sector 3, so it might be in the pit lane. Certainly, the Toro Rosso hasn't left that pit area, so I'd suggest he's just retired in garage.
Maybe.
because he had wait for the car to let the spin past that barrier on the left-hand side. Now he attacks the second part of the spin ball into the Rascast. Line, and he goes 7th on a 1 minute 9.6. I think he probably lost a couple of tenths, at least, coming out of that final sector. Got very, very wiggly on corner exit. Certainly not as smooth as Matrix, just 4/10 of a second up the road. And that really is the difference around this place. If you make one mistake, you lose probably 3 or 4 positions on the grid. That happened to myself on Monday, and I expect the margins to be every bit as fine here. And Slater indeed was, well, he's now on an outlap, so that's the sector time of a 1 minute, 19.8 seconds. So I need to take much. He has damaged. It does look like he has damaged his front wing, which would suggest he did cause himself some issues in that final sector.
Right, I think I may have fixed the issue. Just let me know. I don't know. I'm trying to listen it back on the stream as well. I did block you for a little bit, but I'm trying to learn everything as we go.
Whilst we were talking about that, Yelt and the McLaren another couple of tenths faster. Rissa in the Alfa Romeo had previously beaten that pole position time. Yelt has just crossed the line and he's set a 1 minute 8.455. Purple in the first and the third sector, with Rissa just 0.003 of a second faster in sector 2. It is that close here in Monaco.
Absolutely close. I think everything's sorted, Mr. JP, so we can crack on with some commentary. We've had just over 10 minutes of a qualifying session, 7.5 to go. Leader gap at the moment, not including the top 2, is a 2.5 from 3rd to 14th of a minute.
And spun.
There is a Mercedes.
Lowe's hairpin. It's Jamie who's hit Strife. He looks like he's spun on the exit of Lowe's, and there are better places that you can park there. There aren't many worse on the entrance into the second Mirabeau.
To be fair, is there anywhere in Monaco where you can park and not hit someone? I don't think so.
Probably ask Nico Rosberg.
Maybe.
He certainly knows a place to park around here, but we won't go into that anymore. So just looking now to see, Thomas is just on a lap now. He's just done his first sector. Thomas currently sat in 5th place. But it's not green. It's an 18.1 for the first sector. It's not green as shown on the telemetry. He's just 0.003 of a second behind Matrix in 4th. So if he can find us a little bit of time, he'll be joining his teammate Fruitful on the second row.
No, Reese, he's on a lap. He's just gone purple first sector with a 17.9. Thomas is 5th place at the moment.
Matrix is just going to cross the line now in 4th place. Sorry to cut across. Here comes Matrix now.
Might be an outlap.
It was, yes, no, my mistake on that one. I do apologise.
Williams of Thomas through Rascas into turns 18 and 19. Is he going to improve on his time? It's currently a 1 minute 9.2. He's going to cross the line. It's a 1 minute 9. No, it isn't. It's a 1 minute 8.9. And it puts him 3rd fastest, JP. And I believe there's an AlphaTauri not coming through Rascas because he's cancelled his time.
So now it would be probably the Alfa Romeo of Rissa, but he's pitting as well. Go to his teammates, then Aski Komi going through Anthony Noj now. He fires himself. Again, that's a smooth exit, certainly a lot better than the Haas earlier. Shortest line along the pit lane, and he does go 7th on a 1 minute 9.4, but immediately put back down to 8th by FVR Charlie in the Racing Point. I was about to call him a Force India. And again, somebody else has gone, and that's Simply in the other Racing Point. He's just gone 3rd place. It's all happening here. Askikomi must have been quite happy to have moved up 2 slots. All he's done is maintain the status quo once the outfits known as Aston Martin for next year have had their say.
Purple first sector at the moment was an 18.053. Fruitful's just gone a 17.98. So Fruitful's on a lap. Jacob has retired. Whether that's in the pits or not, I'm not sure. Simply in the Racing Point, 6/3 of a minute, gets out of the way of the Williams of Fruitful. Yellow flag under Portier as a Alfa Romeo is trying to chase a Racing Point at the moment. JP, finish your lap off with Fruitful. He's just about to go through the nose again.
So we've got Fruitful now. He's just fired himself through towards to back. Again, it's a corner you have to turn in too early for because the car will naturally understeer past the apex. With the recently revised swimming pool chicane, he's just coming up onto an Alfa Romeo. I do hope that doesn't affect him. It doesn't because he pits. Now as he fires himself out of Anthony Noge again, a very smooth exit. Doesn't quite take all of the circuit. Doesn't take the shortest line either. That doesn't matter because he goes third. Just a quarter of a tenth behind Rissa in the Alfa Romeo. And he goes ahead of Simply now to put himself back in the top three. It's a lovely place to start if you can. Obviously, because my qualifying pace itself is not good, I wouldn't know. But it's looking now, just coming through, that's Charlie. He looks like he might well be on, no, he's pitting now. So in 8th place, Charlie in the Racing Point. Just looking now. It is a lap at the moment, and we're going to go with, I'm looking at RBR. 12th on a 1 minute 10 flat. Doesn't look like a very smooth, but we're going to stick with him where I am, certainly for the time. Chicane, downhill braking, very tricky.
He did.
Here comes his teammate,
Ooh.
attempting to not replicate that into the Nouvelle chicane. He certainly does not. That's all perfect. About an inch between the barrier through there now as he attacks to back and goes through. You're building up speed. Car's on edge through that chicane now. Simply is on edge as the driver will be now with a Ferrari just in front of him. That might not help him, especially as he's not going to get a tow down the start-finish lines. He does come across the line to go. Oh, he goes 6th. That's half a second he's wiped off his time. That's a really impressive lap, especially bearing in mind he's coming up from EU2. So while he will not score points for the Drivers' Championship, the team, whatever points he scores, will go towards. We'll say more on that a little bit later on. But these reserve drivers, just because they're not scoring points, does not mean that it doesn't mean anything to them. They're going to be coming in with a bit of a point to prove, to say, I'm capable of doing it at this tier if I get the opportunity. And that's certainly the motivation for a lot of these guys. It's all about trying to find that next challenge for them.
I was sceptical about a night in Monaco for this qualifying, but so far it looks absolutely fabulous. On board with a Renault of Don Amo, who's 10.6, not very good, so he needs. I like interacting with the chat, ladies and gentlemen, as he nearly has a tank slapper through Casino Square. Please, Captain Limmy, I am reading the chat. If I see your comment, we will react to it during the race, so please just tag me or I probably won't see it. It's all about you guys. This is why the league runs. 90 seconds or just less to run this qualifying session, and Don Amo has had to back out. Unfortunately, he made too many mistakes in one lap, and he's going to have to wait patiently as the cars that are on laps or out laps try and go past him. Not the best place through the tunnel, JP, but he's just about okay for now.
Yeah, it's difficult trying to get out of the way anywhere here. You have to be constantly alert. You've got so many examples where drivers sort of blame the team for not telling them. You don't get that here. The team will not tell you about traffic. You have to be focusing on that yourself. So it's just another added layer of worry now. If Thomas comes on to start his lap, looks like there's a yellow flag going into back. It's probably a Mercedes looking at it. And it is. It's Kraft who's just trying to get out of the way of everybody, which is very difficult to do.
Jamie's retired. Nerissa had a moment just coming through the Grand Hotel hairpin about 30 seconds ago, so he had to probably stop his lap. Simply crosses the line, doesn't improve too much, and he backs off just after Sander Vott. Who else is coming through? Thomas, he's working his way down to Portier. Fruitful's
Charlie
going through the Grand Hotel hairpin.
Charlie are going to be severely compromised. Charlie would have been, he's got 7th, but he would have been compromised because Askikomi was just preparing to start his lap. Now, the first driver across will be Yelts. He's on an out lap, he won't make it as he crosses the line. So you've now got the Williams of, it's going to be Thomas, who's going to be the first to cross the line. He's just going into the Rascas now. Very aggressive through that second swimming pool chicane. And through he goes now through Anthony Noge again. A little bit of a tank slap, but that won't do him any good whatsoever. But he does take the shortest route doesn't improve. I'm not surprised. His teammate Fruitful's now just coming across, but he has invalidated. So we're going to go to the Red Bull. That's Konzo now going through the Raskas. Fires his way out of... This is his only attempt as well. So DRS open, shortest line as well. And it's 14th for a man who has been beset by issues in the run-up to this. He's lost all of his setups. So it's very much a case of run what you've run.
The Renault behind him pitted. Don Ammo couldn't improve on P15. Reeser couldn't improve on his second flying lap either. There's an Alfa Romeo about to go through the line. I did see it flash across. I think it was Askicom who's gone into 6th position. P6 for him at the start of this Monaco Grand Prix. There is a McLaren of Gel. I'm not sure how his sectors are. The second one was purple.
Finish. He's invalidated.
He won't finish. Yes, good spot, JP.
So,
Ben Williams at Nova Chicane coming back into the pits. I think
I'd say this is it.
that is the grid. Mr. Jones will be taking pole and will have hopefully greater odds than a 45% here tonight.
So it's interesting the way that it's been set out. A lot closer than we feared for a little while because they were strung out, but 1.4 seconds separating the top 12 before it does get a bit strung out between Jacob, Konzo and Don Ammo. I would suggest though that even if you are starting at the back there, this is all self-preservation. This is a race of attrition, and if you'll be quids in.
Crazy. So you take a race like Belgium, Spa-Francorchamps, you take it, it's a 1 minute 40 plus lap time, it's all power for the first bit, tricky second sector, all power for the third bit, first to 15th separated by 9 tenths. You come to Monaco, much shorter in distance and time, and you find 1.4 seconds. The differences in circuits are showing. Before we get into the formation lap very shortly, please support Contest of Speed as much as you can. There's a merch shop available. There's a September for Twitch. You can make sure you follow that and the social medias as well to show the league your support. These drivers, me and JP and the admins, wouldn't be doing this without your support. And JP, the cars are just heading back, and yeah, we got a moment to take a breath, because I'm sure we're going to be using our voices a heck of a lot in this race.
I would put the kettle on, but it would deafen everybody in the stream, so I think I'll leave that be for the time being. Yeah, it's an interesting way. It's a very quick lap time. I think Fruitful might even have just gone pole at a 1 minute 8.2. I'm not quite sure how that's happened. There has been some sort of qualifying glitch at some point, so maybe they'll look into that. But in general, it's a very, very interesting lineup, the way it's set. No driver, I'm just looking at it now, until you get to row 6 and row 7 in the Haas team, are close to their teammates. They're not.
JP,
so,
we have made a mistake. Fruitful took pole.
Yeah, he's just gone pole.
I didn't even see.
I'm surprised it's happened, to be honest, because he was behind the McLaren when it went to 0. So
here's the quali grid then. I didn't even notice. I should have reacted more. I am looking at TAS. It's just popped in purple. Fruitful takes pole in Monaco by a quarter of a second, by the way. And I've just been told in the chat, pole in tier 3 was a 1 minute 9.6. So the pole in 2 tiers higher, nearly 1.5 seconds quicker, faster. Different teams at the front: Williams, McLaren, Alfa and Racing Point. There's a Mercedes in 7th place of Jamie as well. Jow is in 8th. The top 10 covered by Matrix and Cars. They all got pushed back one later on in the session. And the 2 Hasses, 12th and 13th, and a couple of others, JP.
So, Big Slater is the big surprise for me. He was very consistent, very quick, got on the podium at Spa-Francorchamps. Just doesn't appear to have got it hooked up. I looked at it a couple of his laps and he just looked a little bit ragged, especially coming out that final corner. Maybe he just doesn't have the grip or the confidence. Maybe this track just doesn't suit him. But I would expect him to be sort of cracking that top 8 because on his day, he's an incredibly quick driver.
Yes, most definitely. Another league I do has a mandatory 2 minute wait. I don't know if that's the same here. I'm sure you can let me know.
It is just over 1 minute, so everybody gets at least a minute, and then one of the admins would select go. So
right.
There is a bit of time to set your strategy. I'm sure these guys, being tier 1, will have prepared as best they can and will have covered all options, so they'll know what they're doing I'd be very surprised to see anybody in the top 12 or 13 deviate from soft to medium, simply because the overcut or going longer into a race, unless you're genuinely quicker, a lot quicker, doesn't work. Because usually on fresher tyres you can get past somebody using a bit of DRS. Here it's different. You're stuck in, you settle into a rhythm, and as long as the driver in front is even half awake, you're going to be hard pressed to find a place to overtake. Like I said earlier, it's going to have to be a moment of extreme opportunism, or it's going to have to be a moment of luck. So maybe if you're at the back, you've got nothing to lose. But no, for me, it's a soft medium race. Some people might put the hards on a box early because the softs go a lot quicker than you imagine they do. Because they're never straight. There's always load, especially on that front left tyre. So they run the softest compound here. I think it's C5. I can't remember quite how it works, but
it's the softest. It was the softest of the range, wasn't it? So I'm guessing
it would be a C5 for the soft, C4 for your medium, and C3 for your hard. Now the C5 goes incredibly quickly here. It is good for probably 5 or 6 laps, and then you have to be really careful as to the inputs that you put in, and as to how careful you are and how vigorous you are with the steering wheel, whether you're on a wheel or whether you're in a pad. You have to sort of tense up, and that's when mistakes happen. So they'll all be looking after their tyres. They won't be driving flat out, and that is when mistakes start to creep in.
Definitely, and you don't want to lose concentration tonight. Constructors Mercedes double the points, -1 of Williams, 231 to 116. Haas are on 90, McLaren 88, and Red Bull a little bit behind on 49. Montana's leading the championship by 55 points, but he isn't here tonight. So can Fruitful take a step towards Montana in the hunt on this very long 22 race calendar?
He's in the right place.
He is in the right place.
Starting pole position, he certainly is where you'd want to be as they start to line up on the grid.
On board with Alp, he had wheel issues before we got in the commentator chat, but at the moment it seems that he made it. Medium tyres for everyone at in the bottom 10 except Konzo and Don as we nearly get going for this exhilarating race. I hope it is. It's a 113 metre dash from pole position to your braking zone into Saint-Devote. Let's find out what happens here. Here we go. It's for Monaco Grand Prix. And it's lights out and away we go. It looked like a jump start from Simply and Gel. I think we've had a lights issue at the moment. 3 jump starts for most of them. Fruitful's dropped to 3rd, Gel's up to 1st, and Simply's somehow up to 2nd. And up the bay with Archery, Gel, Simply, Fruitful and Risa.
Yep, Yell has also received a penalty for a jump start, which would suggest that those two were a little bit eager to get underway now. But it does mean that they're going to have a mountain to climb. When you serve that drive-through, will probably be as far into the race as possible. They'll have 3 laps to serve that, and at that point the field might just spread out a little bit. There might be some incidents to negate, but yeah, certainly a spanner in the works for both Yell and Simply after some excellent qualifying sessions.
It's been a very long time since I have seen jump starts at this level. We had 2 sets of lights on my screen, so we didn't quite know when it was starting, and neither did they, and the timings are a little bit wrong, but we'll try and work our way through it. It's Simply at the front, covered by Fruitful behind, as the timings are a little bit messed up, but welcome to Co-Masters. We're going through Rascat for the first time out of 39. Mostly everyone's clean. A slight yellow flag in the Grand Hotel hairpin, and I think a racing point is in the pits. JP.
Yes, that'd be Simply serving his drive-through penalty. So me telling them about when to serve it has gone totally out of the window. There's 3 drivers who have come into the pit lane, and that's the Ferrari of Alp, the Alpha Tauri of Yorno, and Don Amo. All of them made contact with one another. It got very congested at the back. They're all going onto hard tyres, so they're gambling on either a safety car or tyre issues for the cars ahead. So they're hoping now to go to the end of the race. Whether or not they make it, I don't know. but certainly their race has been compromised. What it does mean is that the Racing of Simply can now effectively join the pack once again. He's only 4 seconds behind Konzo in 14th, and Konzo himself is only 2 seconds off of the main train.
Just pulled ahead a little bit, but I think he was he a jump starter? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, it was a jump start for both Simply and Yelp. Yelp serves his drive through now. So that puts Fruitful into the lead.
JP, do you reckon?
Not for much longer if Rissa has his way.
Do you reckon that was an intentional jump start, or do you reckon something's gone badly wrong on their side?
I don't know, to be honest. It's easy. Sometimes Codemasters does hold the lights quite long. And especially here where track position is key, and if you're stuck on the outside you can end up in the wall at Saint-Devot. It's one of those that I really can't answer, to be honest. It's Rissa, goodness me, he locked up on the inside going with the Mirabeau.
He had a heart attack
there. I think that could have been an inquest there if that had gone pear-shaped, but they will get through safe. Yeah, going back to your point, it's very difficult here at the moment with the jumps up. Just don't know whether it was a glitch or not. To my mind it did look like some kind of glitch, but we'll only know once the dust has settled at the end of the race.
It's a shame if it has, because it can mess people's races up. We had 2 sets of lights on ours, so I had no idea what was happening. So far, apart from the jump starts, and there may have been some slight wind damage, which we'll check on the task shortly, it's Fruitful, led by Risa, Thomas, Charlie, Matrix and Cars for top 6 at the moment, as we're about to go on lap 4. I didn't even know this camera was a thing until a couple of weeks ago, where you can look behind your cars. Everyone has basically got traction control on off according to the telemetry, and the ABS only it's about 50-50 at the moment, and a large percentage of drivers opting to lower fuel. JP, is there a reason for that?
Yes, the heavier the car is, the more load on your front tyres when you're turning. So what they want to do is try and keep their tyres as best they can, safe from the knowledge that here it is quite easy to save fuel. You can do a lot of lift and coast, or even if you're running lean, it's not going to cause too many issues. So that's why certainly the drivers pulled in the races earlier this week. For me, it's a difficult one because it's difficult to save fuel here, ironically, in terms of, according to Codemasters, you do burn fuel quite quickly. It's one of those that it can work, but if you do come under attack later in the race and you've still got a little bit left to save, then you may be in a bit of strife.
It's a 260 kilometre race, Monaco. It's reduced from 305 for all the other circuits. We're expecting, even without safety cars, a 50+ minute race here, as Carlsberg might be looking for a move on. Go wheel to wheel. Carls cuts a curve a little bit. Matrix stays ahead.
See, that was close. That's what I mean.
Wait,
about.
Sorry, JP. The Ferrari and AlphaTauri were going wheel to wheel through Massenet. Matrix has gone round. The Ferrari's facing the other way. And penalty for him as well. Oh, one.
You need a very willing dance partner in order to complete that move, because what happens is if none of the drivers yield, the way that the corner is, there's a huge bump in the middle of the left-hand apex, and that tends to throw the car off. So you either understeer or you oversteer into the side of your rival. Whoever's ahead really should get the position. And I think it did look as if Carlsberg had just got ahead now, and oh dear, Matrix is just locked up going into Mirabeau. His tyres are going to be boiling hot, and he's missing a bit of the front wing, so
he actually
has.
He actually sat there, Jacob, just outside the casino for about 25 seconds to let everyone go past. I was scared ghosting wasn't going to do its job. That's 2 people into a pit. Is that Jelt's drive?
And no, they both must have hit the Ferrari as he spun around, so they're both changing the front wings. Second visit to the pit lane already. Really, the race has gone from bad to worse. He won't be any lower than his rival, or his rival's behind. Oh yes, he will. No, as they're just coming around now. He'll probably feed out about 15th, I would have thought, as they do leave the pit. Depends on how much power he can get down now, as he's got the inside to slower the shorter run, and he just, oh goodness me, overtake press is going to be a repeat here, isn't it? No, the Racing Point have simply rather wisely backs out.
I have my helicopter view. I love it as Charlie picks up a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings. It seems, JP, the tyre temperatures are actually quite equal, like Japan. It just quite on the front left. It's just a little bit more.
Bits.
He does. He's 5 laps all you can do.
No, it depends really. Does he think he's got a gap to come out into? And it certainly seems that the gap would be between 7th and 8th, but I think he's taking a bit of a risk. Now, so he's got Fruitful, then you've got Jacob Konzo. Oh, he's right at the end of the pit lane. I think he's going to come out. He's going to come out second, and there's a huge gap between himself and Don Amo. The problem is that a couple of the cars in front are on medium tyres, so they're not going to be pitting for a long, long time. If they're still slower, you'll only really find this out in the next couple of laps when you should be making the pit stop. That's when it starts to play out. If it was me, I'd probably have gone a couple of laps later. I think if you jump too early here, the undercut doesn't work quite as well if you come out in traffic, and if you come out behind cars who are on a different strategy.
Sorry, JP. Oh, I think Jelt's about to go wheel to wheel with the Alpha through Casino. I think the Alpha tried to put the McLaren of Jelt into the wall a little bit as he lost that. Was it oversteer, I think, if you're going into a low-speed exit? As he does go around the outside and into the Grand Hotel Alpine. Jelt's into 13th.
I've never seen that before. I've seen them. You can go down the inside at Mirabeau quite easily if you've got the run, if you're down the inside, because the rain on the inside hooks you in, but I've never seen that before. Still, every day's a school day.
Did that satisfy you, JP? The outside move?
It did. I'm a man that likes to work an angle anyway. When it comes to say, does come to raised that way. Mine omitted from what was second place, so they're looking to undercut, and Rissa is pitted now.
I thought
the 2 Williams are on hard tyres. The Alfa Romeo in the middle has gone on to mediums. Mediums, they'll last this long, but they won't be nice to drive on.
I think Matrix has left the session. He's ghosting and driving through the Haas. Big Slater has V3 at the front. Not net in the front, but so far leading the Grand Prix as other people have pitted. Konzo and the Red Bulls under pressure from Arbar Kraft in the Mercedes behind. Fruitful's catching them up. He's picked on the hards just a moment ago. Few warnings coming out, JP.
Konzo's just got himself a 3-second penalty just as soon as you start talking about warnings. He couldn't have done it any better.
Warnings 1323201, so there's quite a few as Charlie enters the pits in the Racing Point.
Carlsbury's the last really soft runners apart from Konzo out there, and Konzo has just been relieved of 5th place by RBR Craft. Oh, this is going to get tasty now. You've got Fruitful and Rissa going side by side.
Reese just clicked. You might have to check that damage, JP, if you got a second on Reese's front left. He just tapped the wall ever so slightly as Konzo lets Fruitful past, and Risa look to try and make an inside move. It looks okay from JP. That's like a Ted Kravitz kind of thing, or Paul D'Estre in race control. Can you check us some wind damage out, sir?
Charlie, just before he pitted, also had to put a front wing on, which has set him back a little bit. He's gone onto hard tyres too, so...
Will they get into the end, JP?
Yeah, hard tyres will definitely, and they'll be somewhat okay to drive on towards the end of the race, providing there's no safety cars.
Right.
What I think Rissa's trying to do by putting mediums on, because he's a lot quicker than Fruitful, but Fruitful is going to have DRS, so it's going to be very hard to pass. What I think he's trying to do is get track position and then sort out the positions and sort out the lead a little bit later on. So you've got now Kraft, who's holding everybody up on these medium tyres. Big Slater's another man who's on better tyres than the car in front. He's just a 10th behind, so they got Massenet. And rather fortunately this time they don't go side by side through the Casino Square.
We're on lap 10 of 39, 30 laps including this one of racing to go, and so far it's just about Fruitful in the lead, a couple of medium people that are still on their tyres from the start. Of course we await their pit stops and their choices. Will they go long and put softs on as Big Slater has a slight tank slapper moment going into Portier, but he's okay as Reese. Someone's gone round. Someone's gone round. It's Jacob.
The wall coming out of Portier, and that's damaged his front wing. So that strategy. It's not totally compromised because he can just put hard tyres on.
Fruitful's going on the inside to the Noble chicane, and he gets through just about, but Reese is ahead. I think he's letting him through.
He's wiped a lot of the front wing off, and so's Rissa's slowing as well.
Yeah, you're right. I just saw that. He was letting some people pass.
Yeah, I don't know whether he might have overtaken wrong. He's just got himself a penalty as well. But I think that's for corner cutting, as now he tries to overtake around the outside. He's not going to need to do that because the Haas has already gone. Rissa now has lost a lot of time to Fruitful in the midst of all that. Big Slater's now the leader. He's 5 seconds clear of RBR Craft now. If I'm Big Slater, if I'm Mercedes, I'm pitting when the gap, because whilst these tyres they've all got potential to go quite far into the race, if you pit now and put hard tyres on, with the gaps as they are, you'll probably come out in the top 6, top 7, so you'll move yourselves up quite a lot.
Konzo's just let Thomas pass JP. I'm guessing his tyres were pretty bad now, so he was getting a little bit slower and slower as Thomas creeps up in the Williams.
Very surprised he's lasted this long. I would have thought those tyres go by this point. They'll be absolutely finished.
Look at this centre beam, JP. Grand Hotel Airport, about 7 cars separated by 2 seconds, all the way from Don Amo in the Renault, literally to Alp in the Ferrari. 8th to 15th, all having a car centre beam moment here in Monaco, which is good to see, and hopefully we can see some potential overtakes. It is tricky to overtake, as we all know, but it's not impossible.
It was Jarno Trulli, wasn't it, who drove for Renault all those years ago, and I think we have got another one of his famous Trulli trains. That is a heck of a queue behind him, isn't it? With Yelt, who's going to be fired up, Carlsberry's going to be on fresh tyres. The only car really you compare performance to is Jarno, and Jarno's looking fairly feisty too after a difficult opening. As Carlsberry now
JP, Jelt just touched the wall. If you want to check that wind damage really quick, as he's under pressure.
Noticed they were going, he was offline, I noticed going into the corner, and I noticed that Carlsberry was again looking up Massenet. Looks okay to me. I'm not seeing anything at the moment. No, it's not. It might well be that, it's saying...
Don's staying ahead at the moment.
Well, a broken his front.
I don't see any...
no damage obvious. I'm not seeing anything on the telemetry, so...
Oh yeah, there you go, 31% front left for Gel, it says, and 19% on the front right, so maybe that's come from before. We got a 12% on Dynamo apparently. I don't know what the percentages mean. I don't know the colour between lime green, yellow and orange, as you all know how the wings go in Formula 1 2020 for Codemasters. And so far, JP, though, not apart from the spin from Matrix and a couple of wheel-to-wheel moments through Casino Square, nothing too major.
Famous last words. They've all behaved themselves quite well, which would tell me Konzo's still out there on his soft tyres. They must feel like he's driving on the rims of that thing. Yeah, coming back to your point, it's a difficult one. This is kind of the lull, the kind of the calm before the storm. Once they get towards sort of 10 laps to go...
1 second. Racers going wheel-to-wheel, Fruitful down to the Noble chicane. But you go wheel-to-wheel. I think Fruitful just clipped the wall as well. He's okay. We'll check. Racer is ahead of Fruitful.
No damage. No damage. Fruitful has 6%, so he's just lightly knocked it. Very... this is what I was suggesting earlier in terms of Rissa trying to get track position by trying to pass him on fresh tyres. Makes sense. He'll try and clear the Mercedes and then he'll slow it down. Because if you've got a bit of a pace advantage, you can dictate where you coming off the final corner and try and save the tyres all the way round. Find yourself a bit of a roadblock come the end of the race because his tyres will be in worse shape than Fruitful. Fruitful, who does have just a smidgen of a knock to his front wing.
He's got track position, but he's also got a Mercedes right in front of him who's just touched, or someone just touched something. I was on the rear view behind the car. It happened in front. Hopefully no damage for Mr. Reeser. But although he's got track position, he has got a Mercedes just in front of him. Big Slater still about 4+ seconds ahead. No damage from JP. And just going back to a comment in the stream, but Don Ammo does have an incredible train behind him. Reeser doing bits, Joel Granger says, and he is so far. He's net first. However, the mediums, can they go to the end? Probably not.
Rick has just tried to overtake into the Rascas. He's now going to have a bit of a run, and he's going to mash the overtake. No, he isn't mashing the overtake. I'm very surprised about that.
Oh! Joel's just had a massive collision into the wall, and I think he's ghosting as well. The McLaren driver, I don't know what happened. I just saw him turn right into a wall, and he's going to be in trouble as he enters the pits. The centre B gets smaller, but for Joel's race, it doesn't get any easier.
I would say that's the damaged front wing coming home to roost, isn't it? Yeah, once you knock your front wing twice and you've got damage on the front or both sides of the front.
Sorry, JP, 1 second. Through the tunnel, Kraft and Reeser going wheel to wheel. The Mercedes versus Alfa Romeo. The Mercedes just stays ahead. There's a bit of contact and a lockup from Reeser, and the Mercedes in front gets a 3-second penalty. But all this fighting, JP, Thomas is coming back, and Jamie's closing the gap as well.
Well, I'm surprised that Reeser hasn't tried to use overtake, and I say that because the Mercedes has got a lot less overtake. There's 40% difference. Mash the overtake and you might have a problem, because the advantage, the effect is absolutely extreme. I mean, the Mercedes now is getting down to 6% by the time it hits the brakes, whereas the Alfa has 55% by the time it hits the brakes. So very surprising to me that he's not at least tried to press that overtake button, because if he does get past it, he'll be away.
The two Alpha Tauris, 9th and 10th, are pressuring Don Ammo as much as they can. Conzo enters for pits in the Red Bull as Carlsberg. He's going to make a move into Sandevot. He is going to make a move into Sandevot. There's contact, and there's probably more damage from the extra 12% on Don Ammo's front left wing.
Yeah, that was never going to work. I think the Force India as well, not the Force India, the Racing Point behind as well has also got damage, because I think he collided with him. He does have a front left damage, and it's 25%. Don Ammo is now up to 44% damage. So that was a mess. What you need to do, it's a track where the best start, one of the best starts, is because.
So you mean knowing when to stop?
Yeah, knowing when it's time to give up. I think the Alpha Tauri had the inside, he had the position. There isn't an awful lot that you can do. Maybe he could have been a little bit slower through the corner. I think that was his corner. I think
I think Fruitful is going to let his teammate pass. Is Thomas quicker than Fruitful at the moment? He just easily let him pass into Sandevot, and the two Williams have
appears to have damaged his front right wing a little bit more.
25%.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. That front right's going to be horrible to drive. There's going to be a lot of understeer there. If he was to pit, he'd come out 7th probably. So maybe he'd come out 6th. So might be worth bolting on a set of mediums and seeing how far you get.
What's the fastest lap so far? Are we going to see an improvement to that a little later on? Charles at the moment, and had 6 seconds ahead.
Sorry, I would suggest that it'll be when the two leading cars of Slater and the Mercedes of Barcraft come in. Then when they put their soft tyres on, then you will get quicker. But no, that's a incredibly good pace. I think
there's a McLaren round at Rascas, and it is Gel. He's facing the wrong way. His McLaren is 90 degrees where it shouldn't be, and Gel's race just keeps getting worse here in Monaco.
And he's damaged the other part of his front wing too. I don't quite know his name, and he's continuing round.
Ooh, I thought Reeser was going to have a go on the inside of Casino Square, but he did decide to do so. Still decides to stay behind the Mercedes of Kraft. Tyre temperatures between these two. Kraft's highest 44, Reese's highest 21. And Reese seems a little bit quicker on the pace at the moment, probably because of that. Just can't quite get past him.
But whereas Marcraft has managed to save a little bit, and he's sort of keeping him past him. He's by pressing that button. There's still a lot of battery left, so I'm genuinely quite surprised now.
Is he saving it?
But yeah,
is it hard to save here? I don't know.
Well, you save it by not pressing. Now, your time to use it is now. Get past him and get up the road. It just doesn't seem to be happening at the moment. What he is doing though, Barcraft, is he is bringing his teammates back into play. Jamie's just caught the back of this, and he's now right in the mix now for what would be a podium finish. He's on slightly
Has he got a pit again?
Doesn't have to pit again. No, he started on soft tyres, pitted on lap 7 or 8.
Do you think he'll make it?
Yes, you can. Okay. You'll be slow
take your
at
advice.
the end, but you can.
Like Hamilton did, with 62-ish, maybe even more, 66 laps, just about, as James Vowles tried to do him over. Kraft is still behind Slater at the front. Those two are probably going to...
He's pressing overtake. I think Riss Kraft heard me as well, because they're both using overtake.
Yes.
The time you use it with the rest is to get double trouble. March down the straight anyway, because he'll is a brick wall.
I'm literally just waiting for the moment Reese makes a need to. If he goes wheel to wheel into Sandivot, Alfa Romeo versus Mercedes, and Kraft is a little bit nicer this time, and Reese is into P2.
Great move around the outside. It was great driving from the pair of them. Barcraft knew when he was beaten, and Risser finally used the tools that were available to him, so now he should scamper away, but he's going to be a bit hampered now, because I would have thought he'd envisage getting a lot further up the road. Big Slater's now 4 seconds ahead, so it might well be that by the time of the pit, you're probably looking at about sort of 6 or 7 laps time, because you'll have less fuel, the track will have rubbed in a little bit better. You probably, we might not catch him until Slater pits and Slater comes back out into free air. When he does pit, it'll probably be 6th or 7th. Let's just look at the gap, be 7th.
What is going on outside Casino Square? I think a car was a little bit slow. Oh, actually, the racing point is simply has some left front wind down. Trying to let everyone pass. The Red Bull driver Conzo picks up a 3-second penalty, and just before, JP, you were going to help me out there. The penalties are coming in thick and fast, especially for the people at the front. When the pit stops are done, we'll let you know what's going on.
Oh, contact, that's a mess. That's a bit of...
Where is it?
Really, I think. It was down into the new chicane. Askikomi's struggling in that Alfa Romeo. He's struggling with damaged front wing.
Right.
I think Alp was trying to pass him down the inside. He just didn't quite... He wasn't quite alongside enough. And then they came together. They made contact with the Haas behind them. 3 of them at least have got damage in the front wing. So, well, Alp tries to carry on. He's got no... Whereas the... Alfa Romeo quite wisely pitted, as has the Racing Point. Now, said this earlier, there'll be a race of attrition.
Stand by, JP. We have a VSC for a moment at Casino Square. On board with Alp, we'll be able to see who it is. And it's Gelt again. Oh, he has completely. I mean, that is a safety car if you've ever seen one. But we'll take a VSC. Allows us to breathe a little bit. Get the drivers charging up their batteries for as long as they can. I'm looking at the telemetry side of the new TAS system. And by the way, T-Bone, if you're watching, it is superb. Everyone's batteries at the moment, apart from 3 people, is below 40%.
Kraft has just received a penalty for leading 2, so... It's going to add further time onto his pit stop, but he's going to have a lot of penalties to serve.
Probably, if everyone's going to the end or not, which is going Fruitful is in the pits for some mediums. We'll get to you with the penalties. JP, just having a look round, a lot of minuses still, and 0.6 around about. I did see Two Spell Wizard, a moderator, maybe a commentator, I'm not too sure. He did say if you underfuel at the start of a race by a considerable amount, even a few laps, 3 or 4 laps, you can sort it out by lap 20 if you're efficient.
Yeah, it depends. You want to save or how much sort of you concentrate your gear towards that. You can save quite a bit, obviously, just for running in lean. You know, it's a place where you is because you're a lot of point and squirt around here. You've got a point squirt. Can be a bit more difficult than you think.
JP, I've just had a thought. So Big Slater was at the front, taking those mediums for quite a bit. He's pitted, he's obviously put new hards on, only 2%. Only him and Fruitful have got basically new tyres on. He sits 4th at the moment. What's his leading at? About 16-ish. Could he try and come back? Maybe push for a podium? 11.5 to tyres for 17 laps.
I think so. We'll know over exactly how much you'll catch up, because the tyres of the cars in front, they're going to fall away. But it's just about how quickly they fall away and how much.
Is that a racing point at the Noah chicane? Simply he's facing the wrong way. He's going to go off the track to let everyone go through, and he's having a bit of a difficulty to spin his racing. I don't think Lawrence Shaw is going to be very happy.
No, it's going to be a big old bill for front wings. That's his 3rd or 4th.
He's got to let 3 or 5 cars come through here. Big Slater, Carlsberg, Kraft, and the 2 behind, which are Jono and Fruitful, almost going wheel to wheel, but Fruitful backs off at the last second. What a view.
Fruitful might have to bide his time there, because that was not a place you overtake into very often, without meaning to state the obvious.
Maybe. I've never seen 2 cars go wheel to wheel. Fruitful's got a DRS. Has he got a huge opportunity to go into Saint Devot? It's medium versus hard. Can Fruitful push past this contact? Jono's AlphaTauri has spun round at Saint Devot. He's got time to turn it around, but he's lost the place and lost the chat to the P7 or higher.
I think, again,
it's never going to end well.
The Williams was ahead. I think you all know. Look, he's on 22 lap older tyres. I think common sense would have said to let him go. Common sense doesn't exist in the Formula 1 car when you're racing away with wheel to wheel, but from the outside looking in, you'd slow it down and settle in behind, because that would have been a strong point. And it still should be, to be honest. He's not lost any positions, he's just lost a bundle of time, just 13 seconds. So rather quick turnarounds, given that normally, especially with the length of these cars, can be very difficult to manoeuvre them.
Jamie and Carlsberg have 12%. Kraft has 38% on his front right. Donomo 44 and 12 with P10, which is Alp at the moment, 51% on the front right wing. That's why he's got a 3-car trail trying to fight for the P10 slot, which is only a point. But sometimes, JP, the action in the middle is fairly entertaining.
Well, yeah, because it's one thing, obviously, when they're leading, you're still going to get things, you're still going to get points on the session, but if you're at the back end of the points and someone's coming up behind you, you go into fight or flight mode, because if you drop into 11th, you know, you're not getting anything out of the race. So, there's the Alfa Romeo Masconi does hit the wall coming out of the final corner.
And just whilst you saw that, I saw a Ferrari and a Haas go wheel to wheel. Nothing happened. There's the yellow flag at Portier. Just check that Williams. I just tapped the wall there, because that was when he was at, obviously, Portier.
Checking the telemetry now for you, see if there's any damage, but can't see.
I wonder why there was a yellow flag.
Maybe somebody was letting somebody go through, or because there is traffic ahead of him, and it's Marcraft and Carlsberg, sorry, and Slater. No lap traffic. Yeah, very odd. I can't see any damage. I'm certainly looking at it now, and I'm not seeing anything that's come up on the telemetry. You're right, it's a fantastic piece of kit, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. I wonder if I can get it in my career mode. Jacob is still trying to pursue out damage. I can just go on this screen. And it's
on ammo.
literally, he's Alpen. Don't go. Bit of a lag spike on the left hand side, but it's all good. Only happened for a frame, shall we say. Reese is in front by just behind. Jamie's on the podium at the minute. We talked about Big Slater, about can he catch it up on the hards. It was 11.6 3 laps ago. It's 10.9 3 laps later. So I don't quite think he's going to make it. What he will have to do is cope with an AlphaTauri and a Mercedes with soft tyres. We're going to try and catch him up for a top 4.
Now, I would suggest that the AlphaTauri won't stay the course.
Stand by, JP. It's Fruitful's time to try and get into P6. By try, can he actually get it through? I think the Mercedes was a little bit nicer and does let him through.
Someone's been listening to the common sense rant, haven't they? That was very polite going
Do you
into the
reckon
first
the drivers
quarter.
have got the stream on? I don't know, maybe.
Some might, never know. It would be nice that they might be listening to. Sincerely doubt that's the case.
20. So maybe
no,
he did.
No, I'm still here.
No, he did. We're still here.
No, I'm still here. Don't worry, you've not got rid of me that quickly.
Not yet.
So yes, it's very close between between 4 all the way to 7th now. Looks like Barcraft has slowed down and held back a little bit, which I don't think is unwise. Because what happens here is you get stuck in behind somebody, you settle in, but your tyres heat up and then you get thermal degradation, and it is quite profound. If you're behind somebody, especially if you haven't got anybody behind you, you can take a breather, drop a couple of seconds, and then go for it again, and have another little run. But I don't think, looking at his exit out order, that's the reason why. It doesn't look like he's damaged. Yeah, he has. He's damaged quite heavily the front right.
Who is that?
That's Barcraft in 7th. That's why it's dropped back so far.
I was just about to say, JP, I've just checked his tyres. 40% after 5 laps for Kraft. Again, with 12 laps including this one to go, and most softs can't even do half of that, it looks like.
If he pits now, he'll come out 8th behind Yorno, but he'll be in a nice gap and he'll have a run. Oh, Force India's just retired.
He's in the pit lane, and Charlie's called a halt to the end of his race as Fruitful goes wheel to wheel through the tunnel. It was wheel to wheel, only for a frame of a second, and Fruitful now tries to in front of him. It's the Haas driver, and it's a fight for P4. 7 laps of hards versus 6 laps of mediums. To be fair, JP, we considered can Slater catch for a podium. Definitely think Fruitful can, if he gets past now.
He can, but he'll have to get on with it. Slater in the
Will he make it now, JP?
He's saved 85% of his ERS, so if he does feel under threat, he can push the button. And he is doing now as they go up the hill. I think that's quite wise, because Fruitful's doing likewise.
He's got no battery, Fruitful, on my screen. I'll just check
Fruitful used it all. He was down at 1% before he hit the brakes, whereas the car in front has nearly 3/4 of his battery pack saved up. So I would suggest that Slater has a couple of tools to play with, even if he doesn't have a faster car or faster tyres.
What's the gap now? So it's 3.8, and obviously Fruitful's tyres are 66%, technically, better on tyre life than Jamie. So if Fruitful can get the move done ASAP, that would be great. I expect he's going to try and get it done into Sandevot in a short while, and we will remain on board with it. Reese and Thomas 6.9, so I think Reese has done pretty well so far to try. Well, he's got to try and keep his concentration for the final 10 laps of this Monaco Grand Prix. No safety cars, 1 VSC. The race has gone quite quickly for Monaco. Is it time for Fruitful to get into P4 into Sandevot? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to, and every single lap he can't get past the Haas. it is restricting him. Can he get a slight slipstream? I don't know how it works on a street circuit into Casino Square. No, he cannot. He's running out of time, JP.
But Slater's running out of battery, so if Fruitful does get past, he can really get the hammer down. It's 9 seconds between Slater and the Mercedes of Jamie 1, and the tyre difference in terms of age is 13 laps between Slater and 14 between Jamie and Fruitful. So if he does get past Slater quickly, then Fruitful is going to be in business and he is going to be a threat.
And that's not going to hurt any of them, but what it is going to do is damper the time a little bit. 9.3 I think it was before. Actually hasn't lost too much. It's just going up by a tenth or two. I thought he was going to think about making a move into Ascas. If he got a better exit from a Piscane chicane, he might have been able to have a little go. But can he get the exit? 13% battery. It's probably not going to be enough. But the exits, JP, from Big Slater out of Ascas just seem to be doing the job. It's not the battery, it's the exits he's getting.
No, it won't be the battery now because he's used all of his battery up.
9
trying to hold
seconds.
on. So quite how long he'll be able to hold him up now he's got the same amount of battery as Fruitful remains to be seen. Now it's 13 for one. Oh, it's back up to sort of 28 now for the other as they sort of build that battery up through the Lowe's hairpin, through the tight, well I was about to say twisty bit, everywhere in Monaco is a twisty bit.
I've just found out, JP, why Big Jamie's struggling, and it's because he's got some very slight damage on his front right end plates. That's slowing him down by about 8 tenths a lap. That's 8 tenths a lap behind another car. So as we're progressing, Big Slater, even if Fruitful's not going past, we're still catching Jamie at the moment. I'm not saying that in terms of we need to catch him, but in terms of I want to see a podium fight in the final few laps of Monaco, that's it. I think
second a lap.
I think Fruitful just had a slight accident going through the chicane before Raskas, and that just slowed him down a little bit. Kraft with another 3-second penalty as we get towards the end of the race. We'll let you know what the penalty. Oh, was Fruitful nearly lose? Well, actually did lose the back end a little bit, cost him half a second.
It's a second a lap, it's over a second lap now, that gap's been down, so I think Jamie is going to be quite vulnerable towards the end. Just looking through it now, Jamie's currently progressing through the 1 minute 14s. When I say that, he was in the early 14s, he's now in the mid 14s, he's getting slower and slower, whereas Slater, meanwhile, is in the mid 13s to late 12s. So those hard tires are coming into their own. Slater's kept himself out of trouble, and that gap is fast coming down.
Joel Granger says, drive of the day, racer 100%. And I've also just noticed, I was told about this, but I didn't know, you can put exclamation mark penalty and then a number if you want to find out how many penalties they've got. Through the Piscane and 5 for Slater, and again it's a good exit by Mr. Slater in P4, and I don't think Fruitful's going to catch him again. Not deciding to use the overtake, but both on the same battery. Is a move coming, and Big Slater positions his car in the middle up Bay with Arcs, so Fruitful just can't quite squeeze through JP. I think it's coming.
It is, but Slater will know he's catching third place, and it doesn't take a lot to fire him up anyway. I know him fairly well. He's a character that certainly likes to get his elbows out as and when the time comes. He's just taken 1.1 seconds out of the car in front. At that rate, he'll be on him by the last lap.
JP, who's going to get out first? Don Ammo or the Kraft Mercedes in the pit lane? Let's have a look coming out the pit lane now as I'll just go back to Fruitful. He goes wheel to wheel with Big Slater, and Big Slater cuts over the Noble chicane and takes a 3-second penalty. I don't know what the rules are here. Will the stewards take it off? But if they don't, Fruitful will obviously just about overtake. I think they'll take it off, because they did go wheel to wheel and Slater didn't really have a choice. But these are getting the guns out, costing themselves precious time though.
I think they may take a look at that a little bit later on, because what the system is that you clip up things, send it to the stewards, and it gets decided in the coming days. So it's one of those that it's debatable for me. Debatable. I think it's a tough call. They were both going hard at it. I don't think it's going to be long before Fruitful does get past him in truth. And once he does, he'll take off like a stabbed rat in pursuit of third place.
I've been a steward before. There's no doubt in my mind he hasn't done that to gain time. I think going wheel to wheel for a part where you actually can't, he's probably had no choice but to go ahead. As they might go wheel to wheel again, but Fruitful just runs out of battery at the last second. But over time, Jamie, normally in a racing situation, they'd both be losing time to a chance at the podium. Right now, because they're pushing each other so hard, they're gaining on the podium position, but they've only got 5 laps to do it.
Oh, the thing was contact through the RAS gas. I think they're ghosting. So, anyway, Fruitful appears to have gone through, but they're both ghosting. I don't quite know how that happened, to be totally honest. But now we're going to see a fight. He's been released. It's 4 seconds now in 5 laps. That's doable, and he's going to have a little bit of time as well to get after him and have a go.
Commentary is awesome. Great commentary. Thank you, guys. Me and JP, it does mean a lot to us. I don't know about JP, but I do a lot of preparation before a race. 2 or 3 pages of race with topics to talk about. We discuss half an hour before a race what the plans are, what can happen. We also do a lot of effort in. Hopefully it pays off. Hopefully the last 5 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix pay off, because you only get this chance one time a season to do Monaco, and although some racers, and I understand why, they dislike it, it's iconic, and for commentators it's super. Sometimes.
You never know what's going to happen. It's one of those circuits that it can be a boring
JP,
race.
one sec. Ascicom, or Ascicome. It sounds Italian. Has just got past Don Amo through Casino Square, and now he's got Conzo the Red Bull for company. So Don Amo is out of the points, JP.
Well, it's been a valiant fight, but I mean that front wing's been giving him jip for a long time, hasn't it?
He's done well. He's done well.
He's hung on, and he's fought manfully, isn't he? He's certainly never given up. But
is Ascicom going to come back into the Noble Chicane? Ooh, he thought about it. On the Red Bull driver. Donamo's dropping back, JP. 1.5 seconds just like that. And, what have we got now? Fruitful is 4/10 of a second behind the Mercedes of Jamie the car. He's been trying to catch ever since he was stuck behind, and he is gaining on the Mercedes, but he's got no battery. Mercedes, 20% battery to help him out. The fuel on both sides. Jamie's got 0.36 extra. Fruitful's got 0.10 or 0.1 extra. So it's going to be a close fight. I think it's clear to say, JP, that Fruitful is quicker, and a big portion of that is just have a quick look if you can get a good exit.
Jamie lost 3 seconds to Fruitful on that last lap. He was in the early 15s. So it's going to be very difficult for him to hang on. It reminds me a bit of the Grand Prix in 2011 where Vettel was hanging on for all his work.
Oh, Fruitful's going to go round the outside of Massenet. Is he going to make it work? Yes, he is. Into Casino Square. Fruitful's into the podium spots. And Jamie's damage of 48% and his tyre life has paid dividends. What a move.
Great driving from the pair of them. Jamie could have easily got his elbows out when there was no need to. He did the sensible thing. He fought hard, but he fought hard enough. He left a bit of space, and he knew when he was beaten, and you have to admire that, especially when you're 3 laps from the end of a podium in Monaco. You can't really argue with that. So I think that's great driving from the pair of them. Very brave to go around the outside there, knowing what the driver might do on the inside as well. I don't think that's the end of the pain for Jamie either, because Big Slater is now all over him like a cheap suit.
Your sayings or acronyms, or I don't know what they're called, but they're brilliant. You put everything into context for all audiences. What was it? Like a what soup?
Cheap suit.
Cheap soup, yeah, cheap suits. And it is, Jamie is in trouble a little bit. He's got Slater behind him who wants that P4. after Slater. Cows is 5.7. I don't think he'll catch that up with one more lap to go. But will Slater get a P4 at the end of this Grand Prix? A penalty for Matrix, but his car is 40.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be of much concern to him, to be honest. Now,
so,
we've got lap cars ghosting through.
The TAS system, JP, is that like updated with adding penalties or not quite?
That I'm not seeing. I'm just flicking in because I'm not streaming. I can flick in and pause and check the penalties manually.
Oh, right.
But it is coming up with penalties as they come in. But it's not giving me a total as of yet. It might well be user error there, to be honest. Now, what you want these laps cars to do is to get gone and get gone quickly, and that's what Dynamo has done. But has he given him DRS? I think he has given Jamie DRS. So Jamie's going to have an extra tool to defend down into Saint-Devote.
There's not too many fans at the Monaco Grand Prix typically, especially not now during COVID, even though we're not having one, but they pay a lot of money, and they've seen not a bad race tonight. You can see the bits of fans every now and again, a little bit there at Portier, quite a big section.
Understand what Jacob's doing?
Back to back.
All he's doing is impeding his Haas teammate. You either back off or you go, because what he's done is just simply get in the way, and when they're ghosting through, it doesn't physically cost you time, but it's very difficult to judge where your braking points are. It's incredibly hard to know where you're going. It's silly as it sounds when you're racing in that. It's very difficult indeed.
JP into Ascas, the leader goes, and after 39 laps of the Monaco Grand Prix, after pitting on lap 8 onto medium, stop on soft to medium, Rita crosses the line to win the Monaco Grand Prix in season 6 of Contest of Speed in the highest tier. Thomas comes across the line in his Williams, second place, and completing the podium is his teammate. Can Big Slater get a move on the Mercedes of Jamie? I'm not quite sure on the penalties at the moment. As we come through the final corner of turn 19, he's got DRS. Can he make it to the line? Jamie just squeezes the P4 ahead of Big Slater.
Fantastic racing towards the end there. Yeah, we had the crescendo that you don't normally get in Monaco, so I think we can be satisfied. Rissa, we hardly mentioned him, but he did a fantastic job out front, did what he had to do, and his strategy of getting track position, ultimately it worked, moving the Williams when he did. And yeah, he can be very pleased, very pleased indeed with that victory. It's a fantastic drive once again. Fruitful coming through after recovering from damage. Well, he certainly gave us a bit of entertainment, didn't he? So again, it's very difficult to finish a Monaco Grand Prix as well. It's much more difficult than you imagine it to be, because concentration has to be there to give the racing that they have. I'd be very pleased with them. I don't think I'd have chosen Yorno as the driver of the day. I think my driver of the day does go to the man we didn't see, which is Rissa, for an outstanding drive.
There's the pole man. The Monaco podium is pretty nice. Not as good as Monza's, but it's definitely nice. You can see them blowing the champagne. The two Williams drivers can take a bit of a step in the Constructors' Championships to the Mercedes crew. And there's the Alfa Romeo, probably the head strategist stood next to. I believe he is Danish. I'm getting the idea of that in the Twitch chat, so congratulations to him. Here's the final standings then without steward results. Risa takes the win at the Monaco Grand Prix after 48 minutes. We didn't have a but we had a VSC. It's 5th on the grid in quali for Thomas. He finishes 2nd. His teammate from pole to 3rd. Jamie in the Mercedes gets a 4th spot. Helps who I think it's Montano in Mercedes. I might be wrong. Helps him out in the constructors. Alpha Tau is 6th and 7th. Another Mercedes finished in 8th place. Might have been a reserve driver. The top 10 completed by Aski Kome and Konzo. Both reserves going on the constructor points. 17th to 11th for Alp, and lapped were Alp Don, Jacob Matrix and DNF for Charlie and Simply, both Racing Point drivers, and Jelks. Now, this league has something very cool.
Interviews.
It has some interviews. Now, I'll let you decide who you want. I'd probably go with podium sitters.
Yeah, it is podiums. It's the top threes. So
just 1 second, JB. Any questions, please, ladies and gentlemen, to ask for drivers? I'm very good at thinking of questions on the spot, but if you have anything you'd like to ask for drivers, please put it in, and we'll ask them. Because I don't really like asking one question and then leaving them, because that's not what they're here for. We need to ask them a few questions and not waste their time. 350 comments tonight. We had, I think, peak maybe 30-40 viewers, and for Monaco, and in this tough COVID-19 situation, thank you very much, and hopefully we provided some entertainment for you, me and Mr. Prentice. And yeah, please get your questions in. Hopefully Mr. Prentice can help me out a little bit and get the drivers in the party. And what a
place, man. Fruitful's already in the party. Congratulations.
Quick guy, hey guys.
Mr. Fruitful.
And Thomas, congratulations once again, Thomas. Well done. Just waiting on Rissa.
Okay, we'll get them all in, and then we'll ask the questions. Glad to be Rissa's race engineer tonight. I don't know if you're being serious or not, but if you was, fair play.
There
yeah,
he is.
a couple of questions coming in. That's fine. Yeah, the Nightbot says, don't be shy. Join in with the commentators. Please do. You can also, just while we get the drivers in, please do contact the shop if you want anything with Contact to Speed. I actually had a look at this stuff and they're really cool. And September for Twitch and all the social medias. And you can see them at the start of the stream with the watermark stuff. But we actually showed you twice because I pressed the wrong button. Have we got all the drivers in?
Yep.
We have indeed.
Right. JP, I'll let you have the first questions.
Okay, so we're going to start with third place, and that's Fruitful. Fruitful, 2 stops at Monaco, not normally the way to go. Gave us plenty of entertainment, so talk about it from your perspective, please.
Yeah, well, my pace, I was really disappointed about my pace. I just felt like I was driving another car that I did in practice. So I had a lot of understeer, which caused some damage. And then I took the chance of the virtual safety car to get the second pit stop in with the mediums. And a little more than I anticipated at first. But I had a fun race after that. Just a little, which was really annoying, especially when we are sort of teammates. So I'm really sorry for that, but still, I had a fun race, and again, congrats to Thomas and Rissa. Rissa was absolutely flying today. He deserved it 100%, so, and Thomas again. That was nuts. Never expected that.
So talking about as well, I want to know, because drivers jumped the start like that at all, please?
Yeah, they jumped. They both ran before the lights went out. So.
Right, that's interesting. Was it a glitch on their side? Were they preempting the lights? Who knows?
No, I don't think so, because it was super long before they went out.
Was it a long lights? Yeah.
It was anticipated wrong, I would say.
We had 2 sets of lights on my screen. Fruitful, inside the top 10, you got the fastest lap. How hard is it on used tyres to hook up a fastest lap around here?
Ooh, yeah, you have to build up the confidence when you're driving. So when you finally get all the confidence together, you can just smash the lap together. So I won't say it's too hard, but it just feels so satisfying to finally get a lap.
And 2 questions for one, Fruitful. One being, are you happy with your podium? And B, are you looking forward to Vietnam?
The first one, I'm happy with my podium, especially happy that Thomas is there as well. It's just, I don't know, I feel like I had to win this race because I was in first place, especially when I was on pole, but I'm happy to get third after what happens also. Yeah, I'm happy, and no, I'm not looking forward to Vietnam.
Thank you, Fruitful. JP, any more for Fruit so we can let him enjoy his evening?
I think we can let him go and have a
Thank you for the great racing, Fruitful, because there was a point in that race where we had a 5-car centipede and then you were coming through and it gave us a lot of good stuff.
No worries, loved it.
Good lad. See you next week.
Congratulations, very well done.
Thank you.
JP, after you, it's Thomas.
Okay, Thomas, so second place. Given that you started back down, I think it was on the 3rd row, wasn't it? Very difficult to overtake here, so you must be pleased having moved up 3 positions, Thomas.
Oh yeah, incredible result. Like, I'm absolutely buzzing. Last couple of weeks really didn't go my way. Like, at Spain I scored points, and that was it for the rest until now. So, I was on the verge last week to just say like, I'm not gonna do anymore. I'm just gonna quit. But I said to Thomas, one more try. I'm gonna give it one more try at Monaco because I used to be good around here. And it actually worked for once. A little bit less time for college, but a little bit more time into F1, and it paid off. So yeah, absolutely buzzing about it.
The right priority then in that case. So again, the start line. When you see other drivers going, certainly in other motorsports as well, it can sort of lead to other people just moving. Was it difficult to keep your concentration?
Yeah, that's literally what I said to Fruit and Don in the party, where I think it was Yeld, he went first, and after that it was Simply going. I just saw it happening because they were both on the left of me. I saw Yeld going first and Simply just followed because he instantly reacted. And I think it was on lap 3 or lap 4 I said to Fruit like, oh my days, I got lucky there that I didn't react as well, and I just kept my concentration on the lights because otherwise I would have made a jump start as well.
Thomas, you finished. So a bit of a three Dutch people from the Netherlands, second, third, and fourth tonight, but in the league as well. How difficult is it to race against some of the Dutch people?
Well, you sort of got every single time you want to be the best Dutchman. I'm not gonna lie, like that's sort of status privilege you want to have. But with Fruitful in the lobby and Vaporizer as well, it's insanely difficult to manage that. So to come out on top today is really good. I'm gonna enjoy it because I think next week.
You finished 8.5 seconds behind Risa at the front. Is there any part of that race that you could have done something different or a different situation to have a chance at making any ground on those 8.5 seconds?
Well, maybe he got the 3 seconds, so I was a little bit hoping for him to pick up another 3 seconds and maybe close in within the 6 seconds, but that was not gonna work. He was behind Arbor at some point, and I was just hoping they would make contact because I was leaving a little bit of a gap just so I wouldn't pick up damage myself. So I was hoping for something to happen there, but he was on the mediums, and I was like, I could medium tire, but I was gonna struggle for tire at the end, which we saw with Jamie as well, because it just pulled away pulled away almost a second a lap. So I just didn't want to take the risk, went on to the hards, but as soon as he got past Arba, I just knew it was over, so I just kept my focus and brought it home into P2.
Good stuff, a good 18 points. Finally, just a nice question before we let you go. Rate Vietnam out of 10 for us, and why have you picked race number 78?
Vietnam, I think I'm probably gonna rate it 7 out of 10. I actually enjoy the track, especially the third sector. When you like hook it up, then it feels absolutely amazing. So I actually quite like it. The pit entry exit is a little bit dodgy, but we will manage it, I think. And why the number 78? My first racing game was actually a British Superbikes game, and I got number 78 assigned to my name, and since then I used it on every single game, and it's just got my lucky number really, so yeah, that's why.
What a cool story. Thomas, congratulations on the podium, and thank you so much for the interviews.
Thank you very much, mate. Thank you for commentating, both of you, actually.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. No, pleasure.
JP?
Risa, congratulations on first place. I'd love to sort of ask in-depth, detailed questions about your race, but the truth is, all the action was behind you. So, just it looked from the outside looked very controlled. Tell us about it from your perspective, please.
First of all, thank you. I had some struggles. I struggling a lot to get past first Fruitful, and then Arbor. I was very confused, and that Fruitful gone on to the hards because I knew you can race it on soft and then go on mediums, and then I got past Arbor, and then I just drove my own race, actually.
That was really the crucial move, wasn't it? You pitted in the middle of a Williams sandwich. They put the hard tyres on. Did you think at any point that the mediums might be a gamble towards the end, or is it just a case of sort of get past the Williams as quickly as possible and then worry about that later on?
I was not. I knew the mediums could hold because I drove a race last night and that wasn't that good. But yeah, I forgot the question actually.
Risa, congratulations.
Thank you.
I believe you are a reserve driver. So
That's,
your is that true? Yeah.
Yeah.
Your whole points will really go a long way to helping McLaren tonight because they were basically level with Haas and quite far away from Red Bull. So you've helped them out tonight, so I'm sure they owe you a thank you. Is soft to medium without a safety car the optimum strategy, would you say?
Yeah, of course. If you can save the tires as much as you need, then it's the optimal option. But
Checo Sergio Perez is known for being good with his tyres. Are you good with saving tyres?
I think so. But my tires was in a critical area at the last. But yeah, I had some issue to pass the R8, so I think the tires took a lot of wear there. But I think I'm a good driver to save the tires.
Good stuff. Last proper question. Was there any time in that race you felt threatened? Oh, that was a good question.
Yeah,
It made
that
him
was
think.
really good. Actually, I don't know. I don't think so. Actually,
He wants to say no, but doesn't want to be arrogant.
Hey, it was a good question. I stole it. I stole the race winner. That's good.
no, but I think I had the control of my race, and I do not actually know what happened behind, but I got my race engineer, of course, and I'll thank him.
Oh, was it a McLaren that you were getting points for? I might have just
Alfa
been told
Romeo.
different. Alfa Romeo, my apologies.
As an EU3
You
McLaren
should have
driver,
interrupted me.
As an EU3
that's not right.
McLaren driver,
That's not right.
I feel happy.
You should have interrupted me.
EU4.
I'm EU3 myself.
You should have interrupted me. Last question. Vietnam is next week. After that is Bahrain. In terms of those two, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Vietnam, I think, but I think both tracks make some real good racing. But
Okay.
I haven't raced a league race on Vietnam, so I'm looking forward to that and hope it's going to be good.
Mr. Rees, congratulations on a Monaco win. Only one person gets that title per 22 weeks, so well done. JP, any words before I outro for tonight?
Well, it's been more action-packed than indeed the drivers further down. I think personally as well, in terms of our first commentary, it continues from here.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking part in watching reviews after the Danish Monaco with two Dutch people. But I'm going to say it. Two Dutch people finishing the rest of the podiums. Join us next week. Tonight, in and on behalf of JP, thank you to him, thank you to everyone for watching. Stay safe and have a fantastic week. Good night.
See you next week. Take care.